Today, I'm going to show you how anyone with an idea can build a working app without writing a single line of code. And honestly, if you'd told me a few years ago this would have been possible, I probably would have thought you were nuts. If you're new here, I'm Sam, and I've been a product manager working for large companies for well over a decade. Recently, I have been experimenting a lot with AI tools and trying to answer a question that I think a lot of people have got right now. Can you actually turn an idea into a product without knowing how to code? So let's answer that question for real, and let's do it with an idea that I've got. The idea I'm building is called Delivery Deck. It's a simple concept, a set of digital cards for delivery teams that you can randomly draw to spark better conversations. And the focus initially is on a set of cards for retrospectives. So the goal is that people can have an application in their hand that sparks these curious questions to provoke conversations. I've already created a spreadsheet with the card's contents, so all the prompts and questions. And the challenge now is turning that content and making it available in an interactive live app. To do that, I'm using a tool called Base44. It's an AI-powered app builder where you describe the product you want and it generates the interface, the data structure, and the functionality. And I'll be honest, the results were way more impressive than I expected, although not without the odd hiccup along the way. Okay, I've already prepared my prompt. I've got my data. Let's start building the idea. So here I am on the Base44 home screen, and all we need to do is go into this box here and submit the prompt. I've already prepared this, so I'm just going to paste it in. Also, because I've already created a bunch of content for my different cards in an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to attach that as well. You can do this by pressing the plus button. I also like this button below here, which says plan, which allows the AI to actually plan out the details before you start. I think this is a great idea, so I'm going to select that as well here before pressing the enter button at the top. Because I've selected that plan view, it's now digested the information I've put in my prompt, and it's actually given a set of information about the plan it's got. Now, in reality, this is a bit of a rewrite in some ways of what I've shared, but it does describe what it understands that prompt to mean. I'm not going to go through all of this here. Let's just assume it's correct and press start building. With that completed, we go to a new screen, which is the actual screen where you can see there are activities in my conversation with the AI on the left, and on the right is building the idea itself. The last action you can see from me, it says plan approved. And below that, there is some information of what it's doing at any one point. So you can see it's updated or imported the Excel spreadsheet that I've attached, and now it's writing some of that content. It's asking me for my approval on the actual document itself. Let's click approve. And with that content as a baseline, it's now building the full app experience. After a couple of minutes or so, you can see it's actually gone through and written some script to produce different parts of the content. And then the deck is then live, available to use. You can then see that on the screen on the right hand side. This is essentially a preview plane. It's a bit weird looking at it in this mode initially because this is effectively a web view, but we're only seeing a mobile slice. So a bit odd to see. But if you go to the top here, you can switch to mobile view. So let's try that. So this here is then what it's come up with essentially. Let's give it a go. So we've got a home screen here. It's talking about these 20 retrospective prompts, which is what I've got in my spreadsheet. And it says I can draw a card to surface a fresh perspective for the team. Let's click draw a card and see what happens. So the first question it's asking, which is given as number 4, which I assume is number 4 in my spreadsheet, is where did work slow down and why? And let's try and click to reveal the details of this. Okay, so this looks really funny. It's flipped it straight away to go, here's the card. Now let's look at the back of the card. But it's literally reversed. This is so funny. The actual writing. That is not what I was expecting to happen. I really find that funny. Let's try some of the other buttons and see what happens. Let's go to the next card. I'm guessing that each of these will do something similar. Another question, where did we assume someone else was responsible? Let's click. Yep, it does the same thing again. And we could keep going through these. So it's pretty good at actually presenting the initial card information and prompting with this question, but in reality, in my Excel spreadsheet, I actually have more information that should appear on the other side of the card. That's what I've got in mind. But we can just keep going through next card and next card. You can see it's got a little indicator of how many cards we've gone through out of the 20 available. There's a button to restart. I'm guessing that will reset this. We can also shuffle it completely. There's no way to get back to the original home screen, but there's not really a need. So overall, a lot of the experience is pretty good. Like, you could have different views on the design choices, but I like the fact that it is going through my data. It is going through and showing these cards that you can reveal and choose one by one. The one big issue is when you flip them over, literally it's like a transparent upside down card. Very odd. I'm going to see if I can now update the prompt just so that we actually can solve this issue. I've put a simple description below just saying update the experience so that when you tap to reveal, the back of the card shows the details showing the subtitle, column D, description, column E, and reference, column F. That's me trying to make mention of the actual data within my spreadsheet. Let's see if it understands how to do that and whether it'll work. Okay, it's taken about 30 seconds or so, and it's done a few different things. It's looked into its own code and looked for the data fields that is mapped from my spreadsheet originally, such as subtitle, description, and reference. And it's saying that it was there. It should be being visible, but those references weren't being used properly because they were nested in some data field somewhere. I'm not going to pretend to understand exactly how it's structuring its information, but essentially it looks like it believes that it solved the problem. So it's updated the deck. Let's have a look if this works. So let's tap to reveal this now. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing. Interesting. So it's getting a bit stuck here on understanding exactly what I've got in mind and the intention. So what I might need to do is try a different approach of reprompting with a slightly different question to see if I can solve this issue. Again, I've added another prompt and I've just tried to rephrase really what I said before. So I'm now saying I want to change the experience. I want to make sure the card back shows new content and doesn't show a reverse of the card front at all. Instead, it should just show the fields for subtitle, description, and reference. Let's see if it understands this better this time. Okay, it's taken that prompt and it's now made some changes. It's actually found that there was an issue in the flipping mechanism and the CSS that was describing it. And so what it's actually decided to do is completely change that. It's now going to do some fade or slide transition. Let's see what it's come up with. So again, on the right-hand side, I can see the actual deck, but I can't see the card at all now, which is weird. Let's click next card and see what happens. Okay, so that's loaded a card at least. And let me try and click to reveal and see what happens. So it's now faded it away, but weirdly, I can't see what's going on. So it's still not really revealing it. It's telling me it's revealed it, but it's not quite got there yet. Now, as you can see at the bottom left, I'm using a free plan. It only gives me so many opportunities to prompt per day. And so that's given me a bit of a sense of where it's got to so far. I can always go in tomorrow, add a few more prompts, keep tweaking this. But what you can see here is what you can do with base 44 very quickly and how actually designing this solution becomes a conversation with the AI to make improvements as you go. In the end, I didn't want to just finish there. So the next day I used my extra credits and made a few additional changes. And this is what the end app looks like. This is the app that I've ended up with. You can see there is a home screen with a little bit of information about the app, also how to use it, and you can go from there to choose a deck. So we've got the retrospective deck, and when you get there, it gives a little bit of information about the deck, how many cards are in there. You can choose to draw a card. You can also suggest a new card even, and that would fill out a form that provides some ideas from people that are using it. If, however, you want to draw a card, you can go through the same sort of logic that we saw before, but now when you flip a card, it gives you the insight. It explains a bit more about the information, and most importantly, it's drawing out the content from my spreadsheet. And you can go through these and use them as you will. So in the end, it's worked out really great. And at this point, I have a first version of my delivery deck app built using Base 44. And for me, this feels like a real turning point. Because not that long ago, if you had an idea for an app, your options were basically learn to code, find a developer, raise money, or quietly let the idea live forever in a notebook somewhere. Now you just start describing the idea that you want and it starts building it immediately. While Base 44 had some issues for me as I was going through it, I actually think it's an incredible product. It's one of the best app builders that I have experimented with so far, and I definitely recommend trying it. And if you've used it yourself, I'd love to hear what you've used it for, what you found great about it, and where it could maybe improve too. Let me know in the comments below. If, however, you find this kind of video really helpful more generally, please give this video a like and think about subscribing to the channel. I'm a product manager. I'm looking at how I can use a lot of these AI tools to help me in my day-to-day, but I'm also building this app in public. And so in some of the future videos, I'm going to look at how I can start adding more social logins to this and also some other integrations. If this sounds like something of interest to you, make sure you subscribe and I'll see you on another product video soon.